Welcome back to Humboldt State Tonight. JB Mathers joined by the head football coach, Rob Smith. And coach, a little more pep in the step today. Congratulations, first home victory. Not to mention homecoming in the Redwood Bowl, beating Azusa Pacific.
JB, thank you. It was a big win for us. Homecoming win, certainly our first win. First time we could, walk off the field feeling good about ourselves by getting it done on the scoreboard. And really, that's what it's all about. So a great effort by our players. Made it a little closer than it needed to be at the end, but you always want to keep it exciting for homecoming, don't you?
Exactly. We didn't want anybody falling asleep during homecoming. Now, we could bore people with X's and O's, and you did this, you didn't do that. Bottom line is you scored more points. But from a personal level, how good did it feel? You put so much work in. The 68 teams here, there's alumni here, the president's here, the who's here. Right. They dedicated a new building the day before. I mean, all eyes are on you and your team. Personally, it's got to feel good.
It really does. And we talked about that as a team, that there were a lot of people that were coming back for this game, where it may be the only game they see all year, and so they're gonna leave with an impression of what they saw, and we wanted to make sure that impression was a positive one. And you give credit to our players; they got it done, and we really felt, after looking at the tape, that we had our chances, as we felt during the game, to put that game away at a number of different points, but not able to do that. Again, I think a little bit of our inexperience may have shown through in the end, but the bottom line is when 60 minutes are done on that clock, that you walk out with more points than your opponent, and we were able to do that. So all in all, a very good night.
Now let's take it right from the top. You told Bert, you told the 68 team, apparently you told everybody but me, you were going to double pass right off the get-go, some fireworks, teaching people don't ever be late for a Coach Smith game in the Redwood Bowl. But when you call a play like that, obviously it's gutsy, take some stones, it's exciting for Bert and I, it's exciting for the fans, but that's gut check time for you. What's it like when you know you're really throwing the dice?
Well, you look smart when it works, and you look like a fool when it doesn't, I guess. But that's the same play, actually, we ran late in the game at Southern Oregon. Okay. It's a double pass. What I did, first of all, I informed the officials before the game that, to be ready for that first play. You don't want them to be surprised and unsure whether that first pass, which by rule has to be a backwards pass, whether they're, you want to make sure they're ready for that. And but I did. It's kind of fun to go up. I've done this before when I have a chance to speak to groups where I know it's loyal, I know there's no opponent sitting in the room. You go up, and I was able to tell the 68 team that the play was coming. Even said, hey, the first play is going to be a double pass, and we're going to score a touchdown on it. And sure enough, it worked to perfection. Mike Prue made the nice first pass. Kevin Miles, a big catch, and it was actually a little high, the throw was, but he makes a nice catch. Their free safety came charging up, and Mike Streck got behind him. And so again, one of those plays that worked out well.
And credit Kevin for making the throw. And Mike Streck Woodard, when that ball's that high and you're that open, it probably seemed like it was up there forever. All right, now let's go to the email. Of course, you can always email the show, jb@jbmathers.com, and we'll put your stuff, let you ask the coach, well, the hard questions, because I'm too scared to. So, Hand, bring me some email magic here. Hand, thank you. All right. This is from Isby, who is from Humboldt. That's all they say here. Fancy stuff here. I would like to ask Coach Smith about their running backs. Why don't you guys run the ball more often to set up the pass instead of pass, pass, pass? Now, I'm reading verbatim here. Okay. Just to balance the offense more, because you leave the defense on their toes instead of their heels. Again, that is Isby. And, I know Coach Monday morning quarterbacking, I like their answer, asking the questions instead of me. Hand. Where's the hand? Where's the hand? Thank you very much. Oh, there it is. All right. Sorry, Coach. We get a little cute here. But
good
anyways,
question.
You got the question then.
I'm a former running back, and certainly as a former running back, you want to run the football. We have 4 running backs right now that are so close. We haven't been able to kind of identify who that starter is. We got Brian Stewart, we got Bobby Thomas, we got Giovanni Cueva, and returning this week from injury, Corey Stolmeyer. So we've got some good backs, but we also have some good receivers. A lot of time the game will dictate whether you go heavy towards the run or heavy towards the pass in terms of the opponent you're playing. This week we were able to run the football well and really gave us control of the game throughout. Even though it was close at the end, I never felt like we were losing control of the game. So ideally you want to run the ball and be as balanced as you can. With a young quarterback like that and 2 good receivers, a lot of time it's based on how the flow of the game goes. But I think our approach offensively is always to be as balanced as we can. And when we have the opportunity, as we did on Saturday night, to run the football, we want to do that. And I would agree with the question that we do need to run the football a little bit more than we have.
But it's not as simple as just saying, hey, we got to run the ball. I mean, you got to be in position, right?
You got to be in position, and up front offensively, you got to be able to win those battles up front. We've had some trouble doing that, quite honestly, early on. So we've gone to more of a quick passing game, or to more of where we feel we may be a little bit outmanned, trying to take the game away from 11 on 11 and turn it into a one-on-one game where we can say it's our receiver versus their defensive back. We feel we have an advantage a lot of times with a Matt Smith, who's a 6'5 receiver, a former basketball player, can use his height, or a Devin Stearns, who's a 6'2. A lot of times those guys are matched up against 5'8", 5'9 corners.
Humboldt State, of course, winning on homecoming in front of a great crowd here in the Redwood Bowl. Coach, on the other side, I think this guy's going to become a bail bondsman because he's always bailing you guys out. Guy, Richard Dooley, I believe he's only a sophomore. Some guys just have a knack for the ball, and he does. I believe he's got like 5 or 6 turnovers already. Key interception early in the game, and then he recovered the fumble that iced the game at the end. Tell me about this kid.
Well, first of all, as a college football coach, I'd rather you not refer to anything as a bail bondsman because, you know.
We heard that from Coach Cheek last week.
Is that right? Okay. Guy is a playmaker, and again, just a sophomore, and one of those guys on tape last year when I got the job that we were still in the process of evaluating, really thought he'd be a great fit, and he certainly has been, but he's just put himself in position to make a lot of plays. He's in the top 10 nationally right now in interceptions, has 5 after 6 games, and then in the right spot for the big fumble recovery. Give credit to Barry Davis, the guy who stripped the ball out there at the end. But very pleased with the playmaking ability of Guy and the fact that he's just a sophomore. He's like a lot of our players. Mike Prue is a redshirt freshman. The 2 receivers on offense are both juniors. We start our best offensive lineman right now, or one of our best offensive linemen, I should say, just a sophomore, and Taylor Boggs. Guy, just a sophomore. Mike Lynch, a sophomore on defense. So a lot of young players, but certainly one that, in Guy Riccadulli, that he's making plays. That's why we brought him here, and it's nice to see him do those things.
Yeah, it's as Dick Vitale would say, the diaper dandies of Humboldt State, and that's what I love. I'm hearing from guys I played with, former alumni, and they say, yeah, I see the record, but boy, they seem like they're fighters. This team's really going in the right direction, so they absolutely love that. Speaking of direction, you're going to Dixie State College, St. George, Utah. You're going to leave Friday at 5:30 in the morning to essentially a noon game the following day. That is a long, long trip. How do you keep the guys focused on the matters at hand and not get caught up in the long trip?
Well, we just have to. It's got to be. We've got to approach it much like a business trip. It will be a long travel day on Friday, as you said, JB. We do leave at 5:30 a.m. We'll bus to Sacramento, fly Sacramento to Vegas, and then a 2-hour bus ride there. We're not going to be able to practice on Friday, which we normally like to do. We have to sacrifice that, but no excuses. We have to go there. They'll have to make the same trip coming this direction later in the season, and you hope our players are mature enough to understand what they have to do. The buses are comfortable. We get, we'll watch a lot of movies and all that, relax in the airport, get to the hotel, have a nice dinner, have our Friday evening meetings, and then get ready for a big game. Dixie at 1-5 is a team that's experienced a lot of frustration this year, a lot of close games. We need to be ready for that one.
All right, sounds good, Coach. Don't forget, that game is on the air locally at 11:40, an hour earlier on ESPN Radio 1340 AM. Coach, thank you and good luck. Danny Collin, the athletic director, he joins us next right here on Humboldt State Tonight.